up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm Celtic Warrior Shane.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome back. Welcome to our first show. This is episode 1. Guys, this is Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show because we can't figure it out. And our promise to you is we will not get to episode 2 until we get episode 1 right. Started at the bottom, and here we remain. Guys, we are happy to have you, and we are happy to have back the king of terrible wrestling takes himself. That's right. Oh, shit. Here we go. The Bishop.
Yes, sir. I am back for another round of episode 1. Let's do it, my friend.
Round's on us. This round's on us. Lunar's already in the chat? Shit. He's probably been waiting pins and needles because we were getting started late because it's only episode 1.
No, he's in there because my tweet. You're welcome.
Because of the tweet? Is that what he said? The tweet?
The Kevlar upgrade.
That's a good point. We upgraded from Kevlar to Bishop because we realized last week we only had good takes, and we wanted to change that up. We said, you know what this show needs? Man. You know what's going to get us to episode 2? Fucking terrible takes. Them terrible takes guys over there on episode 60-something. We on episode 1 for 2 years.
71, episode 71 dropped today. My AEW shit show, AEW Revolution recap.
Oh, hell yeah, it was a revolution.
Where I described to you how Kenny Omega performs as an engineer and a wrestler in the same night.
Yep, absolutely, and with the same self-taught skill level. Bishop, what is in your glass? What are you drinking?
Very simple. Tito's and soda tonight. Nothing special.
Tito's and soda. Is it just like soda, club soda, or?
Yeah, club soda. Yep. Little lemon lime seltzer at that. Lemon lime seltzer.
All right. I am having yet again, because this has been so good to me lately, salted caramel Crown Royal. Little callback to the early days when we first started episode 1. We thought, hey, we'll get ourselves a sponsorship by Crown Royal if we drink it every episode and leave it on the table. We went through cases of that shit before we were like, we can drink other things. It hasn't exactly panned out yet with the whole sponsor thing.
You've only done 1 episode with Crown Royal. It's not like you have 100 episodes of you drinking Crown Royal. It's just you, one episode drinking Crown Royal.
That's a good point.
You did yourself in.
Yeah, we did it from the beginning. Lunar says he's drinking some Japanese whiskey. It sounds good, but I feel like in my mind what I'm seeing is, remember back in the day you'd get like a white can with just black font that just said beans? Like that's how I'm imagining it. When you say it's just some Japanese whiskey, I'm imagining just a thing that just says Japanese whiskey in black on a white label with a little Surgeon General concern on the bottom.
Yeah, I picture Haiku's arms or his face. When you have like the wrestler Haiku had fucking the Japanese symbols all over his face. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, Lunar's ready.
It's just his face on a whiskey bottle.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Let's see. We'll talk about it real briefly just because it's in the news, and we're going to really touch down on it on the Thursday episode 1 where we go over AEW and NXT. Christian was the big surprise for AEW. They signed Christian, which is fantastic news for the backstage of AEW. And I think a lot of people had mixed reactions, right? Here's the thing that I'm not seeing. I see a lot of people claiming that people are saying that Christian is washed up and old and shouldn't be wrestling. I haven't seen that once. I just see people defending that narrative without seeing the narrative out there. So it's almost as though you've made up the narrative just to counterpoint it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like it, right? They want to build up something to defend. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, when he came back at the Rumble, he looked in incredible shape. I heard him talk about, how inspired he was by Edge and finding his own way back in.
Yeah.
And we've all heard the stories of how phenomenal he is as a ring psychologist. And I mentioned on episode 71 of my podcast today that when I listened to him talk about wrestling on Backstage, I was like, oh, everything they say about this guy is true. Yeah. He absolutely knows the business like the back of his hand. So why wouldn't he be a positive influence to the locker room? Now, myself, I feel a little slighted as a WWE fan because, I mean, imagine having those guys as a tag team again, just for another run, just to do it,
100%. And I think, honestly, that's the actual narrative that people are missing. No one's actually disappointed that Christian is going to be working or wrestling or that he'll be helping young talent. People love the idea of all that. The reason there was an overwhelming sigh of disappointment is because of what we know we're going to not get now. I think the anticipation and the excitement that was with Christian seeing him in the Royal Rumble was that moment where you see him and Edge hug and look at each other and work together for a second. The fact they didn't do a pose is a shame. Yeah. But everyone thought, oh my God, dream scenario. Because what people don't pay attention to, or what people throw around, I should say, is the term dream match. Dream match is not the same as fantasy match. Those are two separate things. Right. So a dream match is a dream scenario in which a story is being told so long and so well that the culmination is the match. But the dream is the story that got us there. So Edge and Christian have so much story that we have dream matches of the story that can happen to get us to maybe one more big event with them somehow or another, right? Fantasy matches is video game matches. When you turn on 2K20, as I always do, because it's one of the best, and you play as Andre the Giant against Ricochet. That's a fantasy match. There's no story there, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin against AJ Styles. That's a fantasy match. It's not necessarily a dream match, right? Putting Christian in AEW does not give us the possibility of having dream matches, just fantasy matches. Yes, Christian versus Adam Page might be fantastic if they ever get there, if they ever do it. And why? And why should I care when they do, right? I want the story to get me there. And that's the problem with just going to AEW and there being a fizzle of excitement is just because there's not enough story there yet. And we'll get to a point, I think, that there will be story and hype for people signing. But right now, you're getting legends to sign for their contributions backstage more so even than the screen itself. So I think that the excitement by the company is warranted. They should be that excited to have somebody like Christian there. But I also completely understand the idea of fans just being like, well, now we're not getting Edge and Christian. So, you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's definitely how I felt, and then I take a look back and not be so selfish. And you think about what Christian can do for himself. And it's like, well, if this is the best move he can make, then by all means go for it. And I've never seen short hair Christian wrestle. I didn't watch him in TNA. I didn't see him pass the temper tantrum with DDP, when all that happened back in the 2000s. So I've never seen actually Christian Cage wrestle. So I was looking forward to something because like I said, listen to him on Backstage, seen him at the Rumble. You can see that there is something left in the tank. There is a wealth of knowledge behind it. And if that's going to take place in AEW, for me personally, yes, that is a needle mover. I will want to see what happens. Yeah. But as I stated, when I'm watching something like, the Sting cinematic match, and I mean, we won't talk about it, but me and you talked about it already. Like, if that's what's going to happen to Christian as well, I'm easily not going to watch the next time. So They have to tread lightly. But I will also, in this day and age, go back and watch if I hear, man, you really missed a great Christian match. Okay, I'll go back and watch it. And then that's their chance to hook me again. But yeah, selfishly, I wish he was coming back to WWE. But if he can fix the psychology of matches, the work rate of matches in AEW, then by all means, there's another product I'll be willing to watch.
Oh, yeah. I think that. I mean, I guess I just don't know. I'm so excited for Christian because I know that this is what he wants. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I know that he wants to get back in the ring. He wants to wrestle, and he wants to be part of the biz, as it were. It does sound like this was a shotgun deal. According to an interview he did, it sounds like, I believe it was an interview he did, that it was all done within a week. Like from the moment he talked to Tony Khan to the moment he signed on like that Saturday was like a week time span. And even he said that on Wednesday they still hadn't signed. So when they made the announcement they were signing someone huge, it wasn't actually signed.
Oh shit!
Can you imagine if he didn't?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Just forget about it. Just we didn't. What do you mean? Forget it.
Yeah.
Don't bring it up.
No, I mean, but good for Christian. I mean,
yeah.
If he gets to finish out his career the way he wants to, and the way the business is today too. I mean, not that we're in it, but adjacently we're in it. We see, we hear, we look. For as many people are as reckless as possible, it does seem like the product is safer than it's ever been. So him risking injury or risking re-injury, I should say. I think this is nothing but a positive for him. And honestly, again, if he's anything what anyone says and it appears to be, then it's a positive for AEW too. So
I think it could be huge having both Paul White and Christian backstage. From the interviews I've heard of them, the amount of knowledge I know that the two of them have, if they can truly influence the roster, that will be hugely great for AEW. If they, however, don't, then it's just going to be another signing to AEW, and we'll see how it goes. And that's just it. Is I wish that I knew. I mean, we don't know anything. I wish that I knew or could say confidently, oh, they're going to change the way we see stuff.
Right.
I mean, without getting into a lot of details, I've definitely heard from what I believe to be reliable sources that that's not always the conversations that happen backstage. And matter of fact, Jim Ross even brought it up on his podcast before that, you know, sometimes people are dismissive of feedback from legends. So I just hope that those two dudes can bring their wealth of knowledge to a set of open ears. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this, and you mentioned something similar before about how people being around AEW and then not signing, why, you know, and this would be the two of them would be the marker, because once their contract is up, if they don't renew, because they're not going to be, or at least seemingly not going to be, full on active talent right in their own story, they'll be able to tell what that adjacent shit is. And then, you know, that first interview afterwards, like, look, it's the inmates running the asylum. They don't want to take advice from anyone, you know, like it's because that's how it feels, you know, so. But
we'll see.
We'll let it play out and see what happens.
100%. Again, super excited for Christian to see what he does. I also think it's worth noting, Big Show, Paul White, said in an interview that once the announcement came out that he had signed with AEW, that he got a phone call from Vince McMahon congratulating him on the move, telling him that Vince telling Paul that Vince believed Paul would be a huge asset, not just physically, but that he'd be a major asset to the company and his knowledge would be invaluable to AEW. So I think, and he said that there's no bad blood there, and I believe that. So I think that that's something worth noting. Because also, one more thing that I think is worth saying is that what we've been saying for a few weeks of episode ones now is that there's no war here. There's no attempt at destroying this company. There's pettiness coming from one side, and then there's actually wishing the best from the other one, from as far as we can tell half the time. I mean, and there's probably petty shit from time to time, and I'm here for the petty shit. But AEW signs Paul White, and the reports started coming out immediately that Vince was furious. I could pull those up too. There was a bunch of dirt sheet articles using pictures of Vince in the Monday Night Wars, all like angry man. It's like, he's furious. The backstage response has been horrible, and they can't believe it. And then Paul White's like, oh wait, I got a phone call from that very person who had very opposite things to say. So it's like,
so stupid.
So we can relax on this war concept, and we can also relax on this dirt sheet being a source of relevant information, because it is not.
Yeah, look, if NXT moves to Tuesdays, then we'll see if AEW can sink or swim by themselves. Because I tell you what, based off of the Sunday pay-per-view, I have zero interest in turning on a Wednesday, even if NXT's not there.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Why tune in? It has to get substantially better. And again, not to get into that because that's your Thursday show, but the signings of Paul White and Christian, I think both of them too have enough respect in the craft to not let that bullshit slide in front of them. So we'll see. We'll see.
Lunar does say in the chat, Legends contributing backstage, but still going over talent that needs a push. Oh, stay tuned for that conversation.
The golden child on Thursday. I can't wait.
That's true. Yeah, Amanda's buying a new phone right now. I have a feeling. But yeah, I think that could be very good for them. And yeah, as far as like, I do wonder if they do move to Tuesday. First off, Cody is not making himself likable in any of his interviews he continues to do, because he goes, I don't want to be braggadocious, but we've been absolutely destroying them week after week for well over a year now. And you're like, okay, well, you do sound braggadocious, and you haven't been, is the other thing.
Yeah.
It flops back and forth. There's usually a consistent win, if you want to consider it a win, but it's usually by a very small margin, and it's not consistently. So it's one of those things where it's all like, dude, fucking relax. Also, I wonder how many people are watching both because both are on, and they're just nostalgic for the Monday Night Wars when we used to click back and forth. Oh, which one's going to keep me? I've even heard review shows that say, oh, I'm going to watch it both live and I'll flip back and forth. And there's a few ones I've noticed that go on live to their reaction show to both shows immediately after the show ended, because they air at the same time where they're at. So you can't clearly do a review of either show. You couldn't have watched both.
Right.
So there's like, oh, this is the one that got me. So the reviews become, oh, they're feeding into that war concept where we like to take our time to watch both shows and go over it. Yeah. Now, granted, I stopped watching one of them altogether, and I'm better for it. But we can get into this week's shows, as it were, with the WWE reign supreme. Because if you want to talk about destroying someone in the ratings, AEW's never come close to a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown level rating before, because when you're the best... No, I'm just playing. Let's see. Aaron says in the chat, when he watches Wednesdays, he flips back and forth, but he's not driven to watch both. And that's exactly it. I also wonder, I think we'll probably see a shift in viewership, just because if there's not back and forth to watch, you'll probably honestly just pick one to watch and be done with it. I feel like you're going to see a lot less people watching both.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of people tune in for Wednesday night just to go back and forth. So we'll see. We shall see. Oh man, Bishop, here we go. Well, we were talking about this earlier. How you start every episode, because you have multiple episodes, we've noticed, with oh shit.
Yes.
Here we go.
Correct.
What me and producer love about that is it sounds like a moment of confusion meets excitement about technology. like I set up everything, and the red light goes on and it says live, and you go, oh shit, like it's happening. Oh god.
That's hysterical. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a tech guy, and I figured all this shit out on my own. I mean, I'm currently building a website, www.TWTakesPodcast.com. Merch coming soon on TWT's page. But no, I've figured all this shit out on my own, and then every once in a while I would say it on, I don't know, one of the first 20 episodes. And in the first episode with Mrs. TW Takes, she goes, wait, since when do you start with hello there? Don't you usually say like, oh, here we go? And she was talking shit to me. So from that point on, it's been a, oh shit, here we go. And if I don't, I catch shit for it. So
it's good.
It became a thing.
It's like I've been saying, she's been carrying this show. She's been helping you brand even when she's not on. If you don't do it, she comes over. It's like, are you even trying to brand yourself?
Yes, I know. They rule the world. They had their own day yesterday, though. The other ones are for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shouts and a cheers to producer lady here on our show, carrying it through. She's actually not present. She got everything going and walked away. So Cheers. She'll hear back maybe. I don't think she listens to the show. So cheers to her, and cheers to TW Takes, Mrs. TW Takes on Twitter.
Yes.
Cheers for letting us get together, have a drink, and be dumb for a couple hours. Let's talk.
Cheers to the women.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Control the show, brother. This one's yours.
Yeah, let's do SmackDown. So SmackDown opened up. Yeah, I don't have any other news. If you had any other news, that's all I could think of. So.
No, I don't think so.
Let's see. So SmackDown opened up with Daniel Bryan. Actually, it opened up with Michael Cole. And I noticed right away because Corey Graves was saying a bunch. And I was like, Corey Graves is just fucking rambling. What is happening? Yeah. And then it was all like, my colleague in the ring. I was like, oh, Michael Cole's not there. So it opened up Michael Cole. He introduces Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan then goes on a tirade because he was put in a match to tag team with Edge against Roman and Jey Uso. And Daniel Bryan said, fuck that. Fuck that. It was, why would I want to team with Edge when I want to beat the shit out of Edge? And why would I want to go in a match against Roman and Jey when I want to beat the shit out of everybody? He just is a little tornado. I thought the promo was really cool. Reigns comes out, calls Daniel Bryan our little guy. You're just our little guy. Starts saying that everybody needs him. Daniel, you need me. Paul needs me. Jay needs me. Everyone needs me. The whole show needs me. I love that. I love it. But I thought it was really good. The promo itself was a little weird. Daniel Bryan kept kind of stumbling over himself, which was atypical of him, but actually has been kind of typical of his Thunderdome promos when I think on it.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I look. I'm the least. I like Daniel Bryan. He's like 3 levels above where I like the Young Bucks. I'm just not a fan of Daniel Bryan. Oh yeah. Terrible wrestling take number 1 for tonight. I'm just not a fan. But
the fact that Young Bucks is even on your radar is already disgusting.
Well, because I'm forced to watch them every time you put on anything AEW. No, look, when I watch Daniel Bryan, I never believe anything, and you watch this stuff to believe. Because if you watch Mission Impossible, going, oh well, those explosions are fake, it's like, well, you're wasting your fucking time. But this Daniel Bryan, this incarnation, it's like he saw Edge and was like, nah, dude, I can still do this shit. And whatever he's done the last couple weeks has been something to invest in. And even the way he's wrestling is tighter. And I'm on board. I mean, he stammered through his promos and he didn't lose me. And that's usually what happens, because I'm just not a fan. But when you can hook me even when you stumble through your promos, I mean, that's a victory.
And I like when they do sometimes, to be honest, because it comes off as overly passionate and ahead of themselves and trying to get it all out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I do think that there's a realistic edge to stammering at times, for sure. So you're telling me that you didn't buy into, if you fight for your dreams will fight for you?
No.
You piece of shit.
And I don't even know what that means. Where did that come from?
You don't know what that means.
Where did that come from?
It comes from Daniel Bryan. Yeah, he said that when he came back.
Oh, yeah, that time? Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
When you fight for your dreams will fight for you. Because it's a mutual fight.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Sounds like
you're
a
fighting
vicious
for your
circle.
dreams, and then your dreams just get on your back, and they become a monkey, and then you're all fighting, and everyone wins.
Nah, I didn't buy in, man. I just never did. I never did. I don't know what it was. But now I see a difference. And, again, for me, that's a good thing.
Oh, Iron Manzy's in our chat real quick. He's in our Facebook chat saying, sup to you, Iron Manzy. Let us know what you're drinking.
Sup, Iron Manzy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. What the fuck?
Come to the watch along for Fastlane.
Yeah, he should. He should come through. This is not easy to navigate. I'm doing a bad job at this. All right.
Episode 1.
Yeah, it's only episode 1. So that sets up for Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan in a cage match later on. I liked that Adam Pearce is getting all mad again. Edge is getting all mad at Adam Pearce again. Let's see, I liked Roman doing his bit. There's going to be a cage match. I like all this stuff. This was all good. Let me see here. Let's see. Let's get into a couple other things. Corbin and Sami Zayn. I love them as a team, and I think they are one of the better teams that don't want to be a team's team.
Yeah. Because they both play that really well.
They do. They do, and I think that a lot of these other teams kind of don't. But the fact that they were supposed to have a tag match and Corbin comes out and goes, "No, I'm a singles guy. No, I'm not doing this with you again." And they split it up into 2 singles matches. Was so good. Man, I cannot get enough of Corbin being distracted and upset by Sami Zayn's camera crew.
He is. Look, that's when people say that they hate Baron Corbin, and you just watch him do that. Understand, it's a performance. He's not being a dick because he's a dick, and of course he is because he is. But he has to make it look that good. Like he gets distracted. He's telling Sammy, and he feels it in the truth of truth, that he is a single star. I am not tagging with you. But it also looks like a wrestler telling it to another wrestler. It's fucking genius. He is the best bad guy to act natural, period, in wrestling. He just comes across. I'm such a fan of Baron Corbin since I've seen him in NXT. Yeah. Everything he does just looks believable.
So good. He's so clean. And then when he does the old Bubba Rogers slide under the ring and then goes around the ring post and whips himself back in for the clothesline. The fact that the camera guy got in the way and he goes, "Dude, move!"
Yes.
Let's see. So Corbin got his win over Montez Ford, which I always like. But then Sami Zayn lost to Angelo Dawkins after a roll-up. And then Sami Zayn thought that one of his camera guys was actually an insider and part of the conspiracy.
Yeah, he was a plant.
Yeah.
See, this is where we agree, okay? You were saying that the wife and I got worked by this Sami Zayn character. Yep. What I wanted out of this character was to have these matches, show us the athleticism, and then get caught up in the character. I didn't want him for 15 minutes arguing about what conspiracy. It's all dumb shit. But he's like, if he, from the second he came out the first time with this gimmick, was like, "Hey, this is a documentary about how all you guys are fucking me. I'm going to get in that ring." And he lost in like 3 minutes the same way from the very first time. I would have loved it from the very first time. I like watching him in the ring. And then, of course, he is one of the best at making a fool of himself.
He's incredible. He's incredible. And you definitely got worked because you have to build backstory before you can have layers to a story. You got to lay that foundation first.
But I knew where it was going, and you're wasting my time. Just get there.
It's not a waste of time. This is literally a show that's been on for 30 years. We have time. You were there live for episode 900. There's time.
I was.
There's plenty of time.
18 minutes of that was The Undertaker coming out.
Yeah, it was. Did you go to the 25 Raw?
Give me what I want.
Yeah. Give me what I want.
I was this close. This close. I didn't pull the trigger.
Dude, I was so caught up in my mind on if I would have done the Hammerstein Ballroom or the Barclays. I couldn't figure out in my mind what I would want.
I'm not a mark, so I would have went to the Barclays. Yeah. Dude, I went to the Hammerstein for wrestling. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So you can watch the Undertaker come out in the lights, concussed, and not be able to speak.
That was the worst part. After I was watching Raw, I was like, "Oh my god! If you bought tickets for the Hammerstein, you got fucked." That was such a bummer what they did with Hammerstein. Anyways, I did see a show there once and it was fantastic. I believe it was City in Color. Actually, that was the last show I went to before I moved away from New York, was in Hammerstein. So I'm glad I got to do that. So that happened. Speaking of Hammerstein Ballroom, Carmella fires Reginald. And Nia Jax says that he's kind of cute. And Shayna Baszler gets real fucking weird in this one. It's like, I get the idea of Carmella firing Reginald to a degree. I was under the impression that Reginald was sticking his nose in all of this Sasha Banks and Bianca business to keep the air of Carmella around the story without having to put Carmella in the story at all times.
Right.
Because they could shoehorn her in here one way or the other. By removing Carmella from Reginald without an actual interaction between Carmella and Sasha or Bianca, she's just removed from this entire story.
Unless they Charlotte her and just throw her in there for the sake of. And I don't think anybody wants that because of the bad feelings we get from that forced presence.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, what do you do with Carmella now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is Carmella's like gone. I thought that we'd at least get a Carmella-Bianca match at Fastlane, and now there's no fucking point for that. Let's throw that right out the goddamn window.
Well, there's no point for the Bianca-Sasha match at Fastlane either. They're going up against the tag champs. Again.
God damn it.
Yeah.
What are you doing with this, man? Like,
I have no clue.
And I was saying, too, that, like, there's no story between between Bianca and Sasha. And then being a team that's, like, not a team, and now they're getting a title shot at Fastlane is so forced and so obvious. And it's such...
Right.
This is, like, just as much bullshit as the Charlotte Flair Asuka match they had where there was 3 number 1 contenders and somehow they had a title match and everyone said, oh, it's so Charlotte can cost them the match and then you can get that story going. I don't need the story to go that way. Didn't make
that's
sense
the
that they
thing.
were together to begin with. So, like, there's no animosity between Bianca and Sasha, and to be honest, that match deserves more story because it deserves to be in a better place on the card. And if you can't sell me on the idea that these people want to fight for a reason that's not just because I think you're the best. No, you're the best. No, you're the best. Fuck out of here.
So it is that simple, and it's already built in, right? Let me ask you this. Why was The Miz just champion? Why did he just have the title?
Oh, that was so stupid. It was just to get it on Bobby with saving Drew.
No. In TV wise, he was the champion because he won Money in the Bank. So he had a free ticket, right?
Okay.
So the story between Bianca and Sasha starts with Sasha as champion, Bianca winning the Rumble. That's where the story starts. Yes. Then you can say, Sasha, you're amazing. You're a champion. I want to be a champion like you one day. And then all you have to do is put Bianca on every Friday, winning a match against somebody until WrestleMania, and build her as someone who can wrestle against Sasha. And that's all you need. Coming out of WrestleMania, the way the match goes down, you can build animosity towards another one. But this match doesn't need anything else. Back when the Royal Rumble happened every other time before a monthly pay-per-view, you win, you have an opportunity at the champion at WrestleMania. That's what it was every time. That's all it needs to be. She has the opportunity, but now she gets to pick her opponent. The problem is we got 37 pay-per-views until Royal Rumble happens. Or I'm sorry, until WrestleMania happens. So you have to build Bianca. You don't have to build the story. The story is Sasha's champion, Bianca won the Rumble. Build Bianca. But no, they're standing her next to Sasha and going through all the bullshit. Build Bianca. I still don't think she can carry a singles match on that level. I need to see it.
Yeah, you got to build the idea that this is going to be a tremendous match. Even have matches where put them both in matches where they're just stomping motherfuckers out and they're sitting down on commentary, scouting it out and stuff. You know what I mean? You can build a tension without building a rivalry. I'll give you that. They don't have to hate each other to have competitive tension there, but they're not even getting that. And then the way they're doing it is so forced that it's unfortunate. So we even had coming up right here, Bianca Belair defeats Shayna Baszler via pinfall. So Bianca comes out, and then right behind her is Sasha Banks because she's supporting her good friend all of a sudden. And right behind her is Reginald because now he lost a job and he needs a new job. So I hope you're looking for a flipper because I'm here to flip, he says. They get out there, and then Reginald nearly cost Bianca the match. Bianca wins and then gets in Sasha's face, looking like a jerk, screaming at Sasha, "Get this figured out. Figure this out. Sort this out," and walks away. And it's so forced and obvious. And Sasha looks like she's getting bullied around. Go ahead.
And now Bianca's the bad guy, right? The one who was crying after winning the Royal Rumble. The one who had all of us in the palm of her hands at the end of the Royal Rumble because it meant that much to her. She's now the bad guy. because she's the one talking shit. It doesn't make sense. And had Sasha and Reginald not come out and you gave Bianca a believable win over Shayna Baszler, who is doing, by the way, phenomenal fucking work, helping make everyone look great around her over the last 3 weeks, the last 5 weeks. I was going to say on my Raw show, and I'll say it to you now, but like the last 5 weeks, I think they've been on 4 Raws, a pay-per-view, 2 NXTs, and 2 Smackdowns, the tag champs.
Yeah.
Shayna wrestling most of the time.
Yep.
Making everyone look great around her. If they just had a match together, Shayna and Bianca just so happens to win, does that not do more than the bullshit story that they gave us on Friday?
Yeah. I mean, you could even do the callback to when who was it that beat Shayna? Someone beat Shayna while in the clutch, doing some sort of a flippy
Oh, with the
thing.
rollback?
With the rollback, so the shoulders were down.
I think Kairi Sane did it a couple times.
It might have been Kari or Lana. You could have even gotten one of those wins too, where Shayna's looking like she's about to choke her out and kill her. She gets her into a pinning predicament where it just gets to 3 because of the choke out and all that. So, and then you can even have another one. So one more becomes more decisive and have this thing be where Shayna's this killer that Bianca just keeps barely squeaking it by until eventually maybe Bianca wins so cleanly and undisputedly that it's all like, oh shit, Bianca just leveled up. Where this one's, the whole story was about what's happening on the outside of the ring, not what's happening on the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't make sense, and it should because it's easy to make sense. But
yeah, this is one I'm starting to feel a bit flat on, to be honest. Was looking really forward to it, and at this point, I'm just getting more and more worried about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. Dominic beat Chad Gable. I'm just going to throw that out there. I thought that was...
It was okay.
Strange. It wasn't a bad match, and everyone was doing fine, and we're watching Dominic learn as he goes, and I think that it's impressive and good, but at the same time, Chad Gable's a former Olympian. How's Dominic's 4th win over Chad Gable?
Yeah.
They really could have played that up more.
Gable has that fledgling character. We really don't know what's going on. And doing the Alpha Academy thing, it's too close to American Alpha, and the rumors of Jason Jordan coming back. And I don't even look at dirt sheets, but I'm hearing enough of it. It's, it just makes me yearn for what used to be as opposed to what's actually on TV. I don't take any value in Gable, and Otis is not fully grasping his character too. So, the dance that they're doing, as long as the matches are good, again, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time watching, but there's no story behind it. There's no body to what they're telling you. We're
not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Except, what if we're doing
nowhere we haven't been?
What if they're building? Which, by the way, there's no reason why we shouldn't be having a Robert Roode, a Dirty Dogs, as it were, defense every week. There's no reason why they can't just line them up with whatever tag teams they want. They should be looking like a dominant, badass couple of tag teams, because they're also incredible at everything they do. There's no flaws in Robert Roode or Dolph Ziggler's game. None. You just can't find it. They're so good. So there's no reason why they can't be out there beating some tag team every single week. As you're simultaneously also building up Chad Gable and Otis, you could then end up with a situation where the tag champions of Sami Zayn and Corbin are in a matchup with Otis and Chad Gable.
I'll take it. How or why we get there, I don't know, but I'll take it.
Let's do it. Rev it up. I say drive it like you stole it when it comes to SmackDown and it comes to those tag team belts. Let's see. There's just a couple other things that happened here. Cesaro defeated Murphy. So Murphy comes back over to Rollins and tells him, hey, buddy. Just kind of
What's going on, man?
Oh, you're back. Got them slick old shoes and no socks gimmick. I love it. Rollins says, get the fuck away from me. You smell like ham and turkey, and it's weird. And then Murphy loses to Cesaro by sharpshooter right there in the match. And before he loses, Michael Cole says, and Murphy taps out to the sharpshooter. Yeah. Cesaro wins. Yeah. And Cole goes, and then Graves goes, or... and the bell rings, and he's like,
I loved it.
You could see the look in his eyes. You knew it was, it was coming.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's where Corey Graves is undervalued. I mean, a lot of people don't like him because he gets a little gimmick heavy, but he connects all the dots behind that table.
It's incredible. What he does now, I have such respect for. And if you go back and listen to episode 1, we used to shit on Corey Graves so hard, but one of our favorite meals is crow. And we've eaten a lot of crow when it comes to Corey Graves. He's definitely turned it around. I think part of that, though, to be honest, has to do with his relationship with Carmella. I think that his character has toned down on the overt sexuality that he was putting out there.
The God's greatest gift and all that stuff. Yeah.
And whenever the women would come out, he would get all dirty and gross about it. I also think listening to his podcast, there was a certain point of direction he was being given at the time that I think he's been able to talk them a bit out of, to be quite honest. But all that said, Corey Graves does an amazing job of being like, what you said is stupid because what you meant is, and says it so naturally that you don't even catch it.
And so quick too to process that and spit it out that quick is incredible.
It's incredible. It's so good. And that was one of them. That was one of those moments. So
yeah, for sure. And Cesaro, I've been kind of pointing it out. I haven't been keeping a tally, but I mean, Cesaro keeps getting tap outs with the sharpshooter, and I mean that's to build someone by submission. Yeah. Week after week, it can't be for no reason.
Yeah, him and Natalya both win by sharpshooter a lot. So good stuff. Cesaro, not so bad. He's not bad at all. I'm starting to think. I wonder where they go with it, though. Do you think they're really just going to have Cesaro and Rollins at Mania? Because that wouldn't bother me. But I don't know. I guess I want a little animosity there. Those two characters are so good. It won't be bad. I guess however they get there doesn't matter, I suppose.
Well, and they have time to do that. I mean, since the what was that, the ramp beatdown or whatever it was, they haven't really touched. So they've been staying separate. So once they do come, that's right, in the Elimination Chamber, right? Was it in the
no,
he
just went out there and he went out there shirtless. Cesaro looking like a calendar model goes out there and starts swinging Rollins around while he had the mic. He's like, what?
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I think they can get there, and I don't think it'll take much, a tad bit of animosity, and what was the best non-cinematic match at Mania last year, right? I mean, I think a lot of people talked about Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins more so than really anything else, right? I mean, Rhea Charlotte wasn't bad. I actually liked the triple threat ladder match. It was unique given the circumstances where the tag teams had to defend the belts singularly, and they worked really well together. But yeah, I think if we can have a singles match with no stakes, the two of them you can count on.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, Rollins and Randy did it at 31. That match was awesome.
That was incredible. That was really good. 100%. I agree with that. Amanda Jane coming through the chat saying hello. Amanda Jane, we were talking about you earlier. I hope your ears are burning. We'll be looking forward to getting your takes on Thursday.
Yes, I'm sending my well wishes to you, Amanda.
My condolences, in a sense.
Our condolences, yes.
Yeah. Let's see. So, two other things happen on this show, and I want to get your opinion on this, okay?
That's why I'm here.
Apollo Crews, as they say. He comes out and he's leaning in heavy with this new Nigerian, not new Nigerian ancestry. His ancestry is legit Nigerian. He told a story on After the Bell with Corey Graves, and it was a fantastic interview. And if you haven't heard it, and you have any qualms with this spectacle of whatever it was, then I suggest listening to it, because there's a lot of things that ring true in it. He does come out with the two kind of guards, military type looking, and carrying a large, pretty cool looking spear, to be quite honest, and cuts a promo in a bit of an accent and talking about how this isn't a new accent, it's just the real Apollo. I loved this as I was watching it, and I want to know what you thought of it, even immediately, and maybe hindsight, maybe there was a shift, I don't know. But as we were watching it, I turned to producer and I said, A lot of white people going to be upset about this one. And then I went to Twitter, and I saw a whole lot of white people being like, this is horrible. How dare they? And I saw a lot of the black community being pretty happy about it. In what my small sample that I was looking at, I'm not trying to speak out for everyone. It's just the tone I was seeing. And I even saw someone point out, they said, all you white people want to say that Drew McIntyre coming out in a kilt with a sword is awesome because it's relative to his ancestry when it's not even his sword. But you have Apollo come out like this and suddenly there's an issue. And I was all like, oh, makes sense.
Yep.
But
Miss Man Jane didn't Kofi do that 8 years ago.
okay, let's talk about that, and I'll spit it over to Bishop for whatever his take happens to be. Oh, that's funny. Man, Jane says she's trying to get the image out of her head of a Cesaro calendar. I'm trying to keep it in mind. I drew Cesaro once. I'd never felt so insecure in my life drawing him. Amanda Jane says, didn't Kofi do that years ago? And I will venture to say no, because he came out as a Jamaican character that he came into the company with. He was doing the Jamaican thing on the indie scene because he was trying to make a gimmick. He wanted to do something that was a little bit different, and he thought he'd never seen a Jamaican character. He talks about it even in his 24 on the network, which will be on Peacock soon. So go ahead and get your Peacock. If you go now, there's a deal for $2.50 a month for Peacock. So he talks about that, and I'll say the difference is this. Kofi wasn't Jamaican. Apollo is Nigerian. So where Kofi was trying to figure out a gimmick to make himself stand out, in reverse, Apollo is trying to formulate himself into being a character. He wants people to be able to invest in him by utilizing his actual backstory and actual history, whereas Kofi was just trying to come up with a gimmick that might get him some TV time.
I heard people say, "Oh, well, he was born in California." So
He was born in California. He grew up in Africa. He moved. So Bishop, I know I said a lot there. If you're still with me, what did you think about this Apollo presentation in the immediate and maybe thereafter and anything in between?
Yeah, I think my immediate was, well, so let's take it back to the week before. When he first debuted it, I thought it was awesome. I thought the presentation was just spectacular. It was the most invested I was in Apollo doing his own thing outside of what he did next to Roman Reigns. And I said, okay, wherever direction this character is going, it seems to be the right place for Apollo. Then when he came out this week, I was like, oh no, WWE got their hands on what this is, and they just backfilled it with the cartoon version of what they thought Apollo was trying to be. They put the soldiers behind him, they put a spear in his hand, and this is where they're going. That's how it felt. I don't know Apollo personally. He said it's his real voice. If that's his real voice, hey, go for it. If it's not, and he's using it as part of the character, I have no problem with that either. To compare it to Drew, I'll tell you this. Drew looks like a fool every fucking week. That sword looks fucking stupid. So to say that, to generalize everything, period, is just Twitter being assholes.
Yes.
You know, and they're doing that now with the Peyton Royce promo from Monday to when Naomi said something similar before. And to make these generalizations based off of race, you're adding an element that you don't have to. Because if you take it as it's given to us, what I saw last week, and not this past Friday, the one before that, was Apollo taking his career in his hands, saying, this is who my new character is going to be. Now, because it's a TV show, I have to assume that everything on TV is written for me to watch. Who wrote this? Because my immediate was, I hope Apollo is comfortable with this presentation because it feels heightened to me. It doesn't feel natural. It felt like they were forcing what African royalty is supposed to look like. And to do the spear up front with the soldiers behind him, if you're African royalty, I would assume the soldiers would have your spear. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, but based off of just the presentation, it just felt so caricature of what the week before sounded like it was supposed to be. With that said, if this is going to get the best out of Apollo, I'm fine with everything. I don't care what's on TV, as long as it's good and the performers are the ones that are in control of gimmicks like this, because they will be dealt with properly. If Apollo's being forced into an African stereotype, that's the real problem.
Yes.
If this is Apollo controlling the narrative, then nobody should have any problem with it, because it's not for us to have a problem with. White, black, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's not up to us. It's up to Apollo and the people he worked for. And if the presentation comes off to you as wrong or you feel funny about it, that's a you problem.
Yeah. I mean, I said that also on the flip side. I've said before that I know it's a me problem typically when it comes to not liking certain presentations or the use that AEW's had with Brody's family. I've felt uncomfortable with, but I've also said I know and feel in my heart that's a me problem, because I think that to me it delves up a lot of feelings I've had in personal similar tragedies. So for me, I know that that's why it makes me uncomfortable, but that's also why I don't talk about it much, because I don't think it's them being bad or them exploiting anything. I think they're doing what they think is best, and I think that my personal life is in the way of enjoying it on the level they are. So I just kind of like skip by that stuff. So I agree with you there that if there's something about this that you're feeling sensitive about, it might be you. I also agree, and I feel that I should probably go back and listen to it another time, but the Apollo interview, I feel like he'd said that things were coming that were his idea. I think that this is coming from him, but I also don't know. We're not insiders. We don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I agree
have
with
that
you.
interview queued up too. I haven't listened to it yet, but I am excited to listen, because that's the one. Lashley's on there too, right? It's a dual interview. Yeah, I love that show. Good. Corey Graves does a phenomenal job talking to those guys, and he talks as real as it can get. And if that's what we get out of Apollo, then I'm all for it. Again, I'm all for it. This gimmick felt so natural to him, but again, everything on TV is a fucking gimmick. Everything, they all are. It's a TV show drawing up your interest, your attention, and if you have negative feelings to that, they're either doing their job or it's a you problem.
Yeah, that's true. And I wouldn't be surprised
for the most part, because they could skip on something and fuck something up pretty bad, like when they did the fucking Moolah Battle Royal, and then they're like, oh, that's an oversight, but due to uproar, they fixed it,
Yeah, they changed it up. I do think that, I mean, we don't know anything. We're a couple of dumb idiots who like to drink and talk wrestling. I wouldn't be shocked from a realistic standpoint, a business standpoint, a human being standpoint, if this didn't come across the table and they didn't sit down and have like a thorough conversation about it with all parties involved first. Look, this will get heat. People will be upset by this. Some people will not be upset by this. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if there was a sit down about this. Like, hey, this is the direction.
How do we do it the right way? One of those conversations.
How do we do it the right way? And is this something you're even comfortable doing? You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not there. I'm not in there. And the one thing we're not going to do is be like all those other podcasts and dirt sheets that pretend they have all this inside knowledge and they know Vince McMahon better than anybody knows Vince McMahon, and I don't fucking know Vince McMahon. So all we base it off of is what we see and basic human psychology and what we've seen in the past. So I don't have any reason to think that this wasn't talked about thoroughly first.
Yeah. No,
there's no way you don't put. I mean, they're not unaware of Samba Simba being an issue. Right. Also, who's head of their creative right now? Bruce fucking Pritchard. Have you heard his podcast? Have you heard Conrad give him absolute shit for characters like that and have him go, yeah, that was not great? He's aware. Yeah. Like, you think that he doesn't see that and go, hey, giving this guy a spear could be an issue? You don't think that he's going to be like, no. He'd be like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Do it right, like you said.
That's all. As long as it's met with respect and Apollo's okay with it, then why should I have a problem with it? I don't understand.
Yeah. Amanda does say in the chat. Go ahead.
No, I think it's the right character for Apollo in the end. It feels right for Apollo. So I'm not going to question it. And I hope I hate him.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Amanda says, see, Apollo's story is cool then because he's representing culture. Fepina says she loves it. And Amanda says it's double standards. And so that was her latest cryptic tweet, was the double standards there. And I agree. I agree with that. And I agree with you that I think this fits Apollo in a different way. He's always been just this smiley, happy guy. He goes out there and performs great. Guy, and commentary puts him over, and we say, wow, he's so good. But I guess I should care just because he's good. Where right now you feel like you're feeling emotions because of this guy, and people are invested in him. And what is he going to do next? And that doesn't feel like a bad place to be. And I think that he's so good that he deserves those conversations.
No, absolutely. Hopefully this character gets him there.
100%. 100%. I'd like to see him do a lot more often. And the fact that we have Apollo right now just given a microphone and TV time, I feel like it's a long time coming, man. So if that's how he's going to use it, let him use it. Let's see. The main event for SmackDown, and we'll move on to Raw, was Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso in a cage match. Daniel Bryan put an ass whooping to Jey Uso. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this idiot reporter online, but someone brought up the Evil Uno spot in the AEW Rumble and said, oh, he takes this half-assed Hurricane Rana and then runs himself into a post and falls down. And Meltzer's immediate response was, did you see Jey Uso's punches on SmackDown? They were horrible. They were all over the place. I don't know why people aren't pointing at that. Why aren't they talking about that? So you know what I did right before we came online today?
You looked at his punches.
I watched that whole fucking match again, dude, to watch every single punch.
How good
Wonder
were
what
they?
happened? He landed all of them. And the ones he's talking about are when they're forearms. There's a moment towards the end of the match where Daniel Bryan's on the mat. Jey Uso gets on top and starts going for body shots. So he's not hitting him in the face. So he's hitting on the side. And then he starts laying in these elbows where his fists go down and hit the mat next to Daniel Bryan because his forearms hit him in the head. Every time you see them connect and you see Daniel Bryan's head move and you go, you're not fucking watching. You're just trying to talk shit. And you think that because Dark Order fucked up a long time ago and punched him mad a bunch of times, you think you're going to catch Jey Uso on this one. You didn't. You just weren't watching. You're just talking shit. This match was dope. Daniel Bryan, Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso in this match with Roman Reigns ringside while Paul Heyman could not keep his eyes off of Roman Reigns and his supple lips. That's what I saw. What did you see?
I saw him looking in the ear canal. I didn't see him looking at the lips. That might have been you.
That might have been me.
That might have been.
That might have been me.
Yeah. Might have been you. Yeah. He was trying to see what Roman was thinking the whole time, you know, and knowing that Jey was probably going to lose this match. And the one thing I think is getting overlooked by this match period, because I followed it on Twitter a little bit afterwards, because fucking Jey. Man, I cannot tell you how much I love watching the Usos wrestle. They make tag team wrestling fun, and they sell. Yeah, it's, but what kind of level is Jimmy going to have to work on for them to be a tag team again? Because Jey is just fucking incredible. He has not let us down since he's been in this spot. And again, Daniel Bryan, for me, is doing some of the best shit that he's ever done. And I know he's not working up to Jay's level. That's not what this is at all. I think this is just showing to you how good Jey is to be this good with someone that the internet loves like Daniel Bryan. They better be loving Jey the same way. And they haven't let us down in the ring together and then even individually for like the last, 2-3 months. I mean, it's incredible. They're doing incredible fucking work, man.
So good. I got to meet Jey. Oh God! Hold on, my heart stopped.
We're live, pal.
We're live. We'll fix it in post. I got to meet Jey Uso on one of the Zoom calls that they do on the cricket meet and greets and stuff. So I got a minute with him, and I was just talking to him about how it's so clear that he leveled up in a sense that he also was so clearly ready for it, whether he knew it or not. And to be honest, watching him in mine and watching some other ones with him, it looked like he was getting a little choked up by the amount of just outpouring of love and respect he was getting from so many people. Because I didn't even come in there with a question. I just wanted to, congratulate him and thank him ultimately. And I drew a picture of him. He retweeted it. So, friend of the show. But this was phenomenal. This was fantastic. This is... Yeah. And his promo work is top notch, dude. I love when he grabs the mic and just talks mad shit to Daniel Bryan and just shoves the mic back into his chest and starts to walk away and stuff. I was like, fuck, he's just lit up, man. This dude's fired up.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Amanda's saying good character development and story is what makes wrestling good for me. I think it's why I don't watch WWE anymore. I don't see how those two things connect. But
they do not.
Yeah, she just came in here to shit on us, dude. What the fuck?
How was Sunday again?
Yeah. Enjoy your Sunday show. Christ. Anyways. Yeah, I hope Ricky takes another fucking pin this week. Probably on Dark, too, not even on national TV and fucking YouTube.
Can't wait for this job out to Christian and the Big Show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Ricky's going to shout out to Christian and the Big Show.
I was on your side, Amanda.
Yeah, and then she comes in here like that, man. Like, what? Fuck?
She must have listened to my AEW show today.
No, all good, all good. But, yeah, thanks for coming through. See you later, I guess.
She's like, fuck these guys.
Yeah. Dicks.
I thought we were teammates.
Yeah. But let's see. So, for me, overall, this main event was fantastic.
The stipulation, too, right?
The stipulation was if Daniel Bryan wins, he gets a one-on-one match with Roman Reigns at Fastlane for the title. He wins. The whole Thunderdome goes nuts chanting yes. And Roman Reigns doesn't look real happy about it. I do like this ongoing story of Jey Uso telling people he's going to get him and saying you got to go through me like he's this big impenetrable wall, but then he fucking keeps losing. I think it's a really interesting story that is going to be told down the line. I think they revisit Jey and Roman, to be quite honest. But yeah, but at what sacrifice to the product itself? I mean, I'm with you in overall stories and everything too, but you have to find a way out of this without going there. I don't find the relevance of going there, because if Jey is messing up and it's not at Roman's level, there's no way to be at Roman's level. You know what I mean? So whether he relegates Jey to something different, but I hear what you're saying, but and I agree too. I mean, him keep fucking up. As long as he takes a piece away, does some damage. But what I meant to say earlier was getting lost about this match is Daniel Bryan attacked Jey Uso before the match started. Yeah.
What's that about? Is that just him knowing that he's outnumbered? Is that not supposed to be a heel tactic? What's going on here?
I think in terms of a steel cage match, he knows he's got to get out of there. Right? I don't know if it's necessarily a heel thing in a cage match. But it brings up a good question.
Backstage. It was backstage before it started.
Oh, that's right. He did just jump him. Maybe it was because just to stick it to him, because Jey keeps blindsiding Daniel Bryan in the previous weeks. And then this week he was ready for it and threw him. And maybe it was one more time of fucking stay in your lane.
Two wrongs don't make a right. All right, you want to be a good guy. True. 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, it's true. You have kids, so you would know. It's a good point. It's a good point because we're going to talk about it when it comes to this next show, Monday Night Raw, which definitely happened on Monday. So, Monday Night Raw opens up with a heap of explosions that looked incredible, pyro, just going off like nuts like you would expect. No one scared for no reason or screaming take cover. It was just a wonderful opening to any decent wrestling show. It opens up, though, with The Miz coming out to talk mad shit, which I ignored almost completely and fast-forwarded, turned it off for a while, came back. But Bobby Lashley does come out because he's celebrating. Lightning comes from the sky. Kapow! Boom! Bam! Boom! They show this video package of the almighty Bobby Lashley just dominating everybody, being a fucking force, lightning all over, and then here he comes. Boom! Out comes Bobby Lashley, beats the shit out of The Miz. Fantastic. What did you think of the opening here and Bobby Lashley getting that quick little interview in his suit and then coming out ready to fight?
Yeah, I was glad that they prefaced it that was from before because I missed that they had just arrived. That's why that interview took place. But no, you're underselling The Miz there too. I mean, I thought The Miz was great on the mic before that happened. But I don't know what kind of credibility.
I was being honest. I didn't watch him talk, so talk about it.
No, he's doing incredible mic work. I mean, the problem is that the character never pays it off in the ring because he always does crazy heel tactics. I mean, we talked about that after he got the title, is that I don't want him doing what he did, right? Running for the 10 count. Oh, well, I did the title defense. I don't need that because the promos, like the one he had with Gilbert and McIntyre in the ring, was lending credibility to the person behind the character. And he did that again. But it also leads to him catching an ass whooping. Like there's nothing to the Miz's promos that deliver in the ring, and that's a problem because the promos are so fucking good. But you just don't like them, so I get it.
All right. Well, I think maybe part of it is just the fact he's so not believable at this point. The other thing is that he always tries to talk like a tough guy, but he's not. Not only is he not a tough guy in the ring, but he also comes off like the kind of dude I could knock out in a grocery store if I even so much as bumped into him with my cart.
Right.
He also seems like the kind of guy who might drop to his leg and scream for insurance if you dropped a yogurt on his foot. You know what I mean? He doesn't come off as a tough guy.
Because he's great at selling.
Maybe, but he doesn't come off like a tough guy, but his promos are talking as though he truly believes he's a tough guy and a badass. It's just so tired at this point for me that I just don't listen to him anymore, and I actually turn it off. Because at this point, there's nothing he's going to say that's going to impress me, nothing he's going to say that's going to make me agree with him, and nothing's going to make me more bought into the idea of watching him get his ass kicked or not. I've never seen a Miz match that I've gone back to rewatch. I don't know anybody who tells you the top 5 Miz matches of all time. His matches are good, they're fine.
Yeah.
But they're not classics. They're not amazing. They don't ever tell you that extra story. The best part about his match with John Cena at WrestleMania main event was when The Rock came out afterwards.
Yeah.
It is. And I don't mean that necessarily to
that's
knock
the
him
story.
so much
that's
as,
the story that's left over. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what people are talking about. That show ended with The Rock holding his hand up. And who was in the main event? And who won it? The Miz. And the show ended with The Rock holding his hand up. Yeah, he's been there for a really long time. He hasn't hurt himself. He hasn't hurt somebody else. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying I don't give a shit anymore to listen to him.
So for me, it's for me with the Miz, and we don't have to harp on him for sure because there's a lot of show to talk about. But
no, we can keep on going.
The Miz,
fuck this guy, keep it rolling.
The Miz turned the corner like 4 years ago, and started to be super clean in the ring. Mm-hmm. The opportunity to have the classic just hasn't existed yet. This could have been that time. He's not getting that time because he seems to be so valuable on the mic. But as we've seen for the last 2 years with Morrison, it's been the shit show. It's been the let's gimmick and laugh it up and make the songs and all that shit. It's very entertaining to a point. But post Shane McMahon and all that stuff, it just hasn't. He hasn't had the opportunity to get in the ring and have an awesome match like he did pre-Shane McMahon. And if he had that with the gravitas of his promos now, you could have what would be remarkable with The Miz. But maybe he has to wait until he's 44 years old to do it. That's
I
what
see
Bobby's
your
doing
argument, and I raise you a Daniel Bryan feud, a Dolph Ziggler feud, a Dean Ambrose feud. If he didn't pull out classics in those, he's not bringing his weight.
It's coming now. Well, that's what I'm saying. This is now, though. Like, post-Dolph Ziggler IC title, like, he hasn't had the stretch to do it.
He had Daniel Bryan when he made his return. That was the most anticipated rivalry since Daniel Bryan had left because of Talking Smack.
And they had, what, a match and a half?
They had, like, 4 matches. And a huge one, a blow-off on, like, Super Showdown, if I remember right. Oh, wait, no, that was the quick one with the roll-up. That was hysterical. But I think it got to, like, SummerSlam or some shit. But it was there. The possibility was there. If you can't have a match with
and
Daniel
that was
Bryan
the bad
that
Daniel Bryan.
About,
today's Daniel Bryan and today's Miz, you have your classic. Give us that match. Give us that feud for 6 months, and you'll go, holy shit, Miz gave us a classic. Timing's everything.
Maybe. Bobby Lashley beat the shit out of him.
Sure did.
That was dope as hell.
Sure did.
I loved it. MVP walking out there with his cane, telling Miz to get back in the goddamn ring. John Morrison with his gelled up mullet. The fuck was he thinking?
So gross.
so
gross.
Weird.
What the fuck
Dude,
is that?
He put up a fucking pompadour front, gelled the side so it would look like a mullet when it's not? Fuck out of here, dude. I don't want your faux mullet.
It's bad. It's bad. It's distracting and it sucks.
It's distracting and it sucks. Amanda Jane says, this is why I didn't want Morrison to go back being a fool. He did such great stuff on the indies, and that's true. Fabtina says, I guess that's what he wanted. I was so excited when he came back, and then they immediately paired him with Miz, and I went, God, fuck.
Yeah, it hasn't done anything for either one of them, and they were tag champs.
Yep. Correct.
It's a decent Miz.
Yeah, but that was all that. So I'm really happy about seeing Bobby Lashley. Bobby! Lashley!
How pissed is Leo Rush right now? He's doing nothing. Lashley's a champion.
Fuck. I know, and he posted pictures of him with some double champs of some indies fucking warehouse belt, and like, look, I'm doing good too. And I'm like,
No, you're not.
We used to love him.
Yeah, we're gonna get blocked by Leo Rush. It's all right. It's the
Ooh.
yeah. Sorry, Leo. But yeah, how fucked up do you got to be if you're Leo Rush and head thinking like, fuck, man, like, how perfect would he be in the Hurt Business too? He'd be perfect.
The best. Yeah.
Walking around in his tiny little suit, his little Kids Gap suit. Fucking. What? He would look good, I said. He probably have the freshest fucking sneakers or whatever shoes he wants.
Amanda is in the chat.
Hey, don't make fun of GCW. That's funny because you got the GCW title.
She knew the title.
Yeah, she goes, hey.
I know that title.
Yeah, I mean, it was all like, Janela used to hold it. It's legit. But I think Lashley would fit in so perfect in the Hurt Business. He'd be amazing because you'd have serious ass everybody and him just running around fucking way too hyper for this group, but just a part of them still. It'd be great. But alas, we have the almighty Bobby Lashley looking like a goddamn champion and a fucking star with those lightning.
Like a damn mythical god.
Yes, the guy's coming off godlike, explosions galore, blow
Shall
it
I say
down,
almighty?
they say.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is looking almighty.
Almighty. 100%. 100%.
I like that it reminded me of Bruce Almighty of the advertising.
Bruce Almighty. Yeah. And then,
Text, the font.
yeah, she thought it looked like Bruce Almighty. She even said when he came out, she goes, after the video, she's like, damn, he's looking like a black Thor. And I was like, fuck yeah, he is. Just wreck it.
I don't know where the camera is, but
Yeah.
somewhere.
Let's do it. But I love it.
Amanda's in the chat. So confused.
Yeah, did the ring blow up? No, the whole stage did, though.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
One thing we know in wrestling is the rings don't blow up.
I felt compelled to be the one to mention on Twitter that WWE stole AEW's pyrotechnics for their entrance.
Yeah, they must have run out in Florida. Just had nothing but a tent on the sidewalk. We got some snakes.
Some Hoosker do's, Hoosker don'ts.
Yeah, she doesn't think Janela held the title. Sorry, he's not good enough. But it was fantastic. I loved this showing of Bobby Lashley. He looked like a fucking star. He looked like a champion. Anyone could see that intro if they hadn't been watching in a year. See that intro of him just coming out and be like, holy shit, their champ is a beast. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Love that.
Yep.
She brings up a good point, though. They ran out with Cody's entrance. We will talk about that on Thursday, Amanda. But it was amazing. I wish they did more video entrances like that for more champions in general.
Yeah.
I want Bobby Lashley to run with this forever. Yes. I want him to steamroll Drew McIntyre at Fastlane. Just fucking dominate him and have someone else come in for Bobby to beat up at Mania. That's what I want. Let's talk about it real quick before we get over to the Braun Strowman stuff, which was fascinating. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus did stuff in the back, and Sheamus beats the shit out of Drew for a while. They end up in a match. Drew McIntyre. They do a double knockout during a no DQ match because they rammed their own heads into each other with stairs on top of them like a couple of children with pots on their head. It was a little weird of a spot. Sheamus made it look amazing. Drew McIntyre lunged over the barricade like he was a cartoon character for no reason. But Sheamus looked fantastic. This was a pretty solid, brutal match for the most part. That ended in kind of a weird way. Do you think we end up with some sort of a Falls Count Anywhere, Last Man Standing style match? Although they were really playing up this Drew McIntyre being invincible bit again, where he starts to stand up. I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. Google.
Doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, probably, but I don't know where you do it. It seems like Lashley's going to go, or I should say not go to Fastlane. They're doing something here between Drew and Sheamus that I called for when the draft happened. When Sheamus was on SmackDown heading over to Raw, even before he was drafted, I said Sheamus is the next guy that needs to approach Drew McIntyre and look legit and help build us to give a shit about Drew.
Yeah.
They're trying to do that now, and I'm just not buying in. I felt your McIntyre's the best heel on Raw this week for the first time. I'm like, this guy's straight healing out on Sheamus. Yep. I want Sheamus to beat the shit out of Drew. And like you said, when it came time for them to bang their heads together, Sheamus, being a professional, got knocked in the head and got knocked the fuck out. And, you're the ref here. Were they playing off of Sheamus not being responsive? So there was no double 10 count? But if that's the case, it's not a no contest. It's now a TKO because Sheamus can't continue. Because one ref checking on one guy does not throw out the match for two people. It means one guy can't continue. But they called it a no contest.
In the past, if someone gets seriously injured during a match and they end the match, they'll typically do a no contest instead of declaring someone the winner. I think they do that as to, like, kayfabe, not encourage injuring your opponent significantly to get a win. Right? Sure. If they can't continue, you don't get the win just because you injured them so bad. So it's like, hey, don't break someone's leg just because you get the win then. So that's how I call it down the middle.
Works for me.
Also, Drew McIntyre didn't even let Sheamus get to the ring before he jumped on him, and he was the first one to pull out every single weapon.
Yep.
Fucking asshole, man.
Yep.
I'm just saying, he's a goddamn heel doing heel shit.
And I don't see how he can carry both stories either, because he doesn't carry one story well on TV. His presentation doesn't carry one story well. So how can he focus on Sheamus and Bobby at the same time and get to Fastlane in less than 2 weeks? It just doesn't. I don't think we can get there. And you don't put Bobby in a triple threat for no reason.
No fucking way. Oh my God! Can you imagine if they did that? Sheamus, Drew, and Lashley in a triple threat, so that way Drew can get the pin over Sheamus and get the title back. Motherfuckers! If they do that shit. Here's the other thing. Drew having beat Sheamus in like their last match, I think hurt this match just going into it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sheamus should have
absolutely.
definitely won last week when I said he should have won to make it more interesting than there's someone that Drew can't beat, because Drew has nothing to prove by going into this match. He had no reason to win or care if he won. He already beat Sheamus. Whereas if he had lost to Sheamus, he can say, I want a no DQ match because I'm going to beat the shit out of you to prove that you can't get up after I'm done with you, like a last man standing kind of a deal, right? But he doesn't.
Well, see, I don't fantasy book, but I can back book about 6 months at a time. And had the
that
Miz
book up,
taken had Miz taken the title off of Drew with Money in the Bank 6 months ago, you then have Miz and Randy going after it for about 3 months, while Drew and Sheamus are together for about 3 months. It comes to a head, and now we give a shit about all of this right now. But they didn't do that. They go, here's Drew McIntyre. He beat another champion. Here's Drew McIntyre. He beat another champion. Here's Drew McIntyre. He did some more shit. Here's Miz carrying the promo. Yeah. I mean, Miz carried the promo to a match he wasn't even a part of. What he did to build Drew versus Goldberg was more than Drew and Goldberg. It's like beating my dad. No, it's like the Miz is telling the story of this match. And he, so yeah, I don't care, because they could have made me care 6 months ago for three of those months, if not the entire 6. Imagine if Drew and Sheamus were tag champs going into Royal Rumble, and then they fuck up and one of them wins the Rumble. You have that opportunity.
Yeah. They could have done so much stuff that would have made him give a shit about Drew, but they're so obsessed with him and his goddamn sword that they've made me lose all interest in him pretty early on. Drew McIntyre is nothing more than a wet whoopee cushion. But you had Sheamus being a pro, looking badass, beating the shit out of people, and now they have a reason to fight again. Although my gut tells me that you have Drew McIntyre, because he's trying to get into the main event of WrestleMania, have him challenge Bobby at Fastlane as his last opportunity to get himself into Mania. And then he fucking fails. So he's out. And then you can have like a cage match with Sheamus or something. I don't care. Put on a kickoff. I don't care. Have Bobby move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
You seeing the chat or no?
I'm seeing the chat. Everyone's going on about fucking AEW and stuff. Let me see. Okay, when
Fuck
AEW. That's what I'm saying, man. They should just make Drew heel again. I'm always thinking that he is. I don't see Drew as a face at all. Lunar's back from being away from the keyboard. Yeah, no one sees him as a face, man. We want to boo him. Let us boo him. Boo this man. Boo. Boo. Bow down. Anyways. Well, let's see. There's other stuff that happened on here. Let's talk about the Braun Strowman stuff. People have been talking about this. Braun Strowman came out saying, I'm no dummy. Don't call me a dummy, you dummy. Came off real stupid. It was weird. Shane McMahon comes out, coming out the money. Here comes the money! Money. He comes out, looks Braun right in his dumb little face, and goes, all right, I apologize. Peace, and dips out. Then Adam Pearce goes over to Shane McMahon and says, like, hey, dude, you clearly wanted to talk mad shit. Why don't you just go talk some mad shit? And Shane McMahon says, I won't do that. Instead, I'm going to talk some mad shit. Go ahead and tell Braun Strowman to meet me in the ring for some mad shit talk. They get in the ring, and then Shane grabs a new microphone, gets out of the ring, starts doing laps like it's the Ding Dong Hello Challenge against Bianca Belair, which Bayley should have won. But he starts doing laps and then walks around to the top of the ramp and says, look, dummy, you're the dummy. You dummy.
I can't breathe, you dummy.
Yeah, I can't breathe, you dummy. Then this whole thing got weird, and Braun looked dumb. And it's weird because the idea is that Shane's calling Braun stupid, and it's supposed to make him the heel in this situation. But then Braun says some stupid shit, and you go, well, you might be right. like it's this thing where it's like you feel bad for Braun, and you just go to Shane, and you go, Shane, like, yes, but just don't say it to him. Like, that's not the investment you want, I don't think. Bishop, what did you think about Dummy Dummy versus Dummy Dummy? Here comes the dummy.
You're glossing over R-Truth's impeccable ability to be funny backstage.
Go ahead,
He
talk
did
about
the whole. He did the whole R-Truth thing where he mixes up the words and all this shit, and like he said he stole his dentist goldfish and released it back into the ocean. I laughed because he's talking about, Finding Nemo and shit. But then he puts his glasses on and told Strowman, I'm a fragment of your imagination, and tried to Men in Black wand him with a click pen. Like, it's just incredible. Man. But besides that, Strowman either messed up or the writing messed up by saying, I will listen because I don't want to get fired. I won't take it to you because I don't want to get fired. So he literally is telling you, I have to listen to what Shane says so I don't kick his ass and get fired, because he's ready to kick his ass. So at that point, it's a position of power taking advantage of an employee, and it's just fucking stupid because Braun already told you, like, I'm ready to kick your ass. And Shane's like, well, I'm not going to call you a dummy, but it's just, this segment was fucking stupid. We knew where this was going 2 weeks ago. And we know where it's going to go 5 weeks from now. And you're not fooling us. You're just telling a dumb story.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Shout out and hi to Heather Lopez in the Facebook chat, too. Just saying cheers to ya.
Cheers, Heather.
This was too long of a promo for Shane.
This was weirdly long, weirdly...
Well, Shane was trying to catch his breath.
Breathy. Yeah, a lot of breaths.
It was long without saying without going anywhere.
It was big for no reason, she would say.
Yeah. No.
What? That's what... What?
Stop it.
What did I say?
Oh my god.
Bishop, you know.
I heard it.
He heard it.
I can cut the show right now.
You usually do. What, are you going to pull the internet
You
again?
are the producer.
She fucking pulled the internet one time, dude. Yeah, it was weirdly long. I don't know where we go with this that has a significant level of interest, right? Because here's the thing is, yeah, and here's the thing is, I actually really like both of these guys. I like Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman a lot. I always think that there could be in slightly different this or slightly different that. I think the idea of Strowman and Truth tagging together could be cool. You call it Get These Truths or the Truth Express. Choo choo. And, when Truth says, what's up? Strowman could be like, I'm taller than you, I'm up. And then everyone goes, you're so dumb. And he goes, don't call me dumb.
See, this is why I don't fantasy book.
Why? What happened? What do you mean? Because now you're excited for a tag team?
No, you're going way off the tracks of the Strowman Express. It's not going anywhere right now.
Off the tracks. Oh! So, I don't know where we go with this.
Hey, you called me, all right?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, bloop bloop. I don't know where you go with this that matters. Like, what are you going to do? Have a Strowman and Shane McMahon match at Mania? It's just a Strowman and Shane match? Like, I don't think it would be a bad match, if I'm being completely honest. But I don't know if calling Strowman stupid and then making him also look kind of stupid is the way to get there. I don't know that Strowman getting a win over Shane does much.
Pretty basic.
And what does Shane getting a win over Braun do? Nothing. Like, you have Braun Strowman, who last year beat Goldberg for the Universal title at Mania, and this year there's a potential he's going to have a one-on-one with Shane McMahon. Like, that's not no match at all, but it's also like for no fucking reason at all.
Well, and
You know
what
what I mean?
gimmick could it be too, right? He's done Hell in a Cell. He's done Falls Count Anywhere at Mania. Shane, this is, so what are we going to do to ramp this up to really, really give a shit, except for the fact that they actually have to fight? Well, the only way you have to fight is locked in a Hell in a Cell or Falls Count Anywhere, and that's happened already.
I'll tell you right now, this is the match you have. A greatest wrestling match ever. Match.
Is it your long?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. The greatest wrestling match ever match. Just like they did with Edge and Orton, you put out Charles Robinson in the blue with the bow tie, have the old Howard Finkel microphone drop down,
This is
and you
why I
have a
don't
greatest
fantasy book.
wrestling match ever with Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. That's how you do it.
There's just nothing you can do. And we know what's going to come. Just say it. Braun, you're a dummy. And then Braun can go, well, you're a dummy because Adam Pearce makes the matches and he made me and you at WrestleMania 6 weeks from now. I'll see you Sunday the 11th. And then just leave it at that.
That's it.
Like,
Just leave it.
Yeah.
Long-term booking with KO and Shane McMahon.
No, that's Triple H and KO.
Was it? I thought it
Yeah,
was.
no, it's not Shane. No, they already beat Shane.
That's right.
That's where I used the clips from even.
Forget it.
I fantasy booked KO and Triple H, and it's still amazing. But 100%, this didn't need to be 2 segments. It didn't need to be 40 minutes long.
all right.
Cut that time and give the time to, I don't know, a women's match with somebody. Let's see. You had Xavier Woods beat Shelton Benjamin. That was pretty decent. Kofi kept saying small package for Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin got our small package. Pretty interesting. Riddle defeated Slapjack. Go ahead.
The real takeaway was their gear. They came out
Their
in
gear
Mortal
was
Kombat gear.
sick.
So dope. And did you see the edit that somebody made on Twitter? They animated their poses. So Kofi's got a scorpion pose, but somebody put his hands on fire, and Woods' hands were all Sub-Zero'd up. It's fucking awesome. And that unicorn inside the Mortal Kombat symbol is a perfect fucking fit. It's amazing.
It was amazing.
Their gear was fucking insane. I went on WWE Shop to look for a T-shirt of theirs with that symbol on there. I need that.
Yeah, it's not happening yet. That random person who made that random edit, as you try to say it, was Ed Boon, the co-creator of Mortal Kombat.
Really?
That's dope.
Yes.
Damn.
Yep.
That is dope.
Yes.
I didn't
That
say
was
random.
not.
I said somebody on Twitter.
You just said some fucking fool. You're like some dumbass with a Photoshop. You went in on it, man. It was crazy. We'll play it back. You went in on it.
Please do. Please do.
I wish you would. Fucking wish you would. Play it back.
Calm down.
Bishop's gonna come ripping
Ed
through
Boon's
this
the man.
screen. Just to help, yeah, it's gonna help me. He's like, you're about to catch yourself an ass whooping. Keep it up. Fuck it. Yeah, Ed Boon
I'll
did that. So
disconnect
that
the
was,
internet.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What the hell?
I'll leave you without a co-host.
Yeah.
You called me, dummy.
Yeah. And then the rest of the show's like, I don't know, the matches happen and fights happen and whatever. But yeah, dude, that gear was so sick. I hope they do some
It
sort of
was
Mortal
incredible.
Kombat type stuff. It was so good. It took me a second to
But what's
see
Big
it
E
too.
gonna wear?
As they came out, what? He's gonna start wearing trunks or something. So then, as they come out, I'm looking at it and I'm all like, that unicorn looks just like the Mortal Kombat symbol. That is crazy cool. And then I'm looking at it and I'm all like, oh shit, his fucking gear's got like snow on it. He's fucking Sub-Zero. And that's when I looked and I was like, because at first I was like, why don't they match like they usually match?
Same
Then I
thing,
saw
yeah.
it. And I was like, it's Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And then he goes in the back where Matt Riddle's like, hey, bro, my scooter, bro. Kofi, being the man, just goes, get over here. And takes that fucking scooter just like Scorpion would. It was sick. So good.
And Woods told Riddle not to freeze out there. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was good.
Oh, yeah.
That was good, man. They hit it. They hit it out of the park. I would say it was a fatal victory.
Nah.
Amanda said great riddle impression. Yeah, that was my riddle. Speaking of riddle, he defeated Slapjack after hitting the Broderick, and Mustafa Ali was pissed at Slapjack and jacked his slap. I wonder. I don't think I'm ready for Retribution to break up yet, but I think we're getting there. I think that's what we're looking at.
And might as well. How good is Slapjack's fucking turnbuckle suplex?
Dude, he's so good. The more I'm watching him and stuff, dude's good, and he's been putting on a lot of size. For a small dude, he's looking quite jacked. Quite slapjacked.
They don't stop. Now we know why people tune in every Tuesday and Thursday.
Keep them coming. Episode 1. I mean, that match was good too, but it's another thing. Like I said before, Riddle does not make me care. So every time he comes out there, it's a good match that I don't care about who wins. And someone wins, and I always go, okay, that's who won this match.
Yep.
That's how I felt about this one. Speaking of not giving a shit, you had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler come out. They defeated Lana and Naomi, which sucked because Lana and Naomi, I think, have a lot going for them. They brought Reginald out with them. They were talking weird about Reginald, saying he's cute and stuff. They're making this whole thing about Reginald now and Shayna and Nia, and I'm not into that. And I don't like them disposing of Lana and Naomi this way. As much as I'm not been historically a fan of Lana, I like her pairing with Naomi, and I think there's a lot of promise there. I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, you know my narrative. I basically women's wrestling above all. I mean, I want to see as many women wrestle as possible, and growth and development is something that always matters with time on TV. This is the first time we got to see Naomi really extended amount of time on TV in a while. You know, when she tagged with once they won the number one contender match, she came in for the pin like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was in like a 30-second match. And I alluded to it earlier. Since I wrote it down in my notes. Since February 15th, Shayna and I have been on 4 Raws, 2 Smackdowns, 2 NXTs, and a pay-per-view. And they are moving that women's tag title around. The fucking problem is the number one contenders on Raw finally got their match. And they were the first ones to qualify. And they weren't even a part of this match.
Yep.
Everything was happening, like you said, around the Reginald and what Nia was looking at. I mean, even when Shayna and Lana were in the ring, they had to cut away from what they were doing to focus on Nia and Reginald. Why?
Yep.
It's a shame.
It's a shame. As much as Shayna and Nia have been walking around with those titles, I don't feel like they're doing with those titles what Sasha and Bayley were doing with those titles when they took those things on tour too.
And
well, you're right.
I learned in Sasha's documentary that if the titles aren't really being held up, then she's not so happy about it.
That's a good point. So in the Broken Skull session interview with Sasha and Stone Cold, the Stone Cold asked Sasha if she felt like it was the right move to have them drop the titles at WrestleMania, and she said if there's follow-up and continuing story, then it's the right move. And he looks at her and he goes, so you don't think it was the right move? And she goes,
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when those because of how invested those two were, Bayley and Sasha, and how pivotal
they talked
were
about
in
it like a
making those.
year before they came out. I remember them talking about it because I was excited for it too. And I agree with you. This isn't the same standard, but my point was they're giving that much exposure to the tag champions. You there now have the opportunity to give that much exposure to their challengers, and they're not doing that. They keep beating the door with Sasha and Bianca, and you don't have to. They have their own thing. You can be building up Natty and Tamina.
Yeah.
You can have that match. When they did wrestle, there their 2 weeks on NXT was awesome. You got to see what it would look like with them standing and promoing against each other. The promos were not bad. The match wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but I was so excited for the fucking match. They couldn't meet my expectations, but it was a good match. And you got to see a legit Raquel and Dakota Kai work like an animal. Yep. Shayna Baszler as well. So you have the opportunity by giving it that much exposure, but they're not doing anything when they're there, but they are being there. You know, so the missed opportunities, it's not Shayna and Nia. Exactly. It's not Shayna and Nia that are missing the opportunities. WWE's missing the opportunities by putting people in front of them to build that up.
Well, beyond putting people in front of them, they put them in front of people that have nothing to do with those stories. The idea that they had to flop the titles over to Charlotte and Asuka, the idea that you're going between Charlotte and Asuka over and over again. You got a bunch of one-on-ones with Shayna and Nia and some random schmo. They're telling stories around the titles without including the titles as a focal point. So then they become this weird, like, pseudo thing where it's all like, well, I mean, and here's the thing is that, like, with
turns it to a prop.
Sasha and Bayley, you toured them with the titles because everyone wanted to see Sasha and Bayley with those titles and defend them. They moved the needle, as it were, as people say. And as far as the ratings go, and we've talked about it a bunch of times before, the ratings mean absolutely jack shit, but people talk about them. So when the golden role models were on tour with those titles, they saw a spike in every show's ratings when they knew that they were going to be there. You're not seeing that stuff with like a Shayna and Nia. So moving it around with them doesn't mean as much to me because it's also not as interesting because they seem to be second place in the story that happens to have the titles involved.
They're trying to make them funny, and they're not funny characters.
Nia's not funny, and Shayna's not funny, and they're trying to be hysterical, and it's fucking...
I want to see Shayna as a badass like I know she is.
Yeah, Shayna should be murdering people, and we should be scared and screaming about her bullshit. Remember when she was in NXT and she kept breaking people's arms and kept... Yeah, it was like, fuck! Someone stop her from breaking everyone's fucking arm! Like, it was bullshit.
And this is how believable she was. She lost to Kairi Sane like 3 fucking times. Legit made you go, Kairi Sane won that match. Not because Shayna looked like an idiot, but because she got out-wrestled. And Shayna can do that. I was I was saying it on my Saturday show that I did, episode 70. Check it out. TW Takes Podcast. All platforms, TWTakesPodcast.com. That Shayna's turning 41 this year. And whatever she's doing to be as good as she is, Father Time's undefeated. When will we get the last Shayna? When she was in that tag team title match on NXT, I felt watching her, it's like, fucking Shayna looks home. She looks where she needs to be, where she just looks amazing when she was selling and when she was on offense. She just looked so comfortable in the ring. And it couldn't have been because she was working with Raquel and Dakota. You know, and that's no offense to them. Dakota is amazing, and Raquel is coming into her own. But there was a presence to Shayna that we haven't felt in so long.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think Dakota might be one of the, like, she's like the Dolph Ziggler of the women's division. No one sells like her, man.
Great
She's
example.
Incredible. But yeah, I want to see more of the tag team championship here. The bummed out Lana and Naomi did not get the win, and then we're moving on to Bianca and Sasha, who I desperately do not want to win. But at the same time, it's like, the fuck story you guys telling? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing with these titles right now. But I will say that they are on every show all the time, so they're definitely worth talking about. They definitely hold a value. There's definitely something happening with them. And I know Justin Time's not in our chat today, but fuck that dude, man. Fucking coming for him. Fucking coming for him.
You definitely brought up a great point.
Yeah.
Or was it you or was it yeah, it was you. Yeah, you're like
because he's
literally
like
on every show.
Yeah, where he's just all like, this is one more example of why these titles don't matter. I was like, this would hold more weight if you didn't bring it up every week because they're on every show all the time. So you can't say that. That's not an argument. Whatever, man. Cheers to Justin Time. But let's see. So that happens, and then afterwards, I forget who it was. I think it wasn't Kayla. Someone else was interviewing. They got a new guy on there too.
Yeah.
weird British folk. I don't know who he is. He seems all right. He's a little goofy, but I'll get used to him. Kind of like a British Vic Joseph, but more clumsy, like Mr. Bean. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm joking. So somebody's interviewing British. Are you from London?
Oh my god, we're the worst.
Just fucking around. But so someone's interviewing Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose and says, "Do you guys got your eyes on the titles?" And they go, "You goddamn right." Charlotte comes sliding in and says, "Who the fuck is you bitches?"
Ugh.
They're like, "Who the fuck is you?" And Charlotte says, "Well, you better prove yourself to me." And they're like, "Why?" Yeah, bitch.
No, I wish they said why.
Yeah.
Wish they said why. The
That's a
response
good point.
was, no matter who's in there at WrestleMania, we're going to give it our all. And then fucking Charlotte just ruined any chance of me giving a shit going forward and goes, well, you better prove it to me because you got 5 weeks. What the fuck does that mean? Does that mean that Charlotte has a placeholder for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania? And if somebody can prove that they can hold up to Charlotte, she'll step away? Fuck
Yeah.
out of here.
What the fuck was that? Prove it to you? Why? Is Charlotte booking WrestleMania all the fucking sudden? She's
You know what?
scouting the next number one contender? What the fuck was that, dude?
She said it. She said it. When she faced
know.
Asuka at WrestleMania, she had everything to prove. And since she won that match, she has nothing left to prove. Everyone else has to prove it to her. She did it to herself.
Congratulations, Charlotte. You played yourself.
I completely forgot that segment came up. Thanks, guy.
Yeah, dude, I was Oh, you're writing a note down real quick? Like, on my show, I'm going to tear this one apart. Fucking I got so mad listening to her. She goes, well, you better prove it to me. You got 5 weeks. I was like, who the fuck are you to book this? Infuriating.
Ugh. Jesus.
Because here's the deal. Is Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose are fucking awesome. They need more time. I would have rather had them have a 5-minute match than see Shane breathing heavy into a microphone and not sure what he's supposed to do.
Twice.
Braun! Sorry, that's my Shane. Shane
It's
McMahon.
close.
I'll tell you this, though. Shane McMahon, for a long time, has had a hard time of breathing his nose into the microphone, and it pisses me off. It makes me so mad, because he'll be talking to me. He's like, here's the thing.
No,
I was just,
give him time. He wasn't raised in the business. He wasn't raised around this stuff. You got to give him some time.
How do you not know how to not fucking blow your nose on the microphone, dude? Sorry. I've had a lot to drink. Shane? He's been doing it since he's 13.
Doesn't need anyone correcting him, okay?
That's a good point. He goes to the back. He goes back curtain. Vince is like, I loved that part where you're breathing, blowing your nose on the mic. I loved it. Dude, here's the thing, Shane. You can fall off of a scaffolding and break your ribs. That's good. It's fine. People will. But here's the thing. Here's your ticket. Once you started blowing your nose on a microphone, that's when I knew you had it. That's when I knew that you were going to do something. It's the weirdest bit, dude. Just hold the mic a little bit lower. That's all. Go over the top.
You're getting worked.
I got worked. I'm getting worked.
He's doing it just to piss you off.
Yeah, just piss me off. But yeah, so Charlotte says everyone's got to prove everything to her because she's booking WrestleMania now. Somehow she got the fucking pencil.
Yep.
But it makes sense because she knows her role and stays in her lane, as Vince McMahon said a couple years ago. But that was that. I want to see more Dana Brooke. I want to see more Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose always doing TikToks. Check it out. I don't know why she's always like telling people to subscribe to her TikTok, but she is. We had a main event, which had a little segment beforehand, but it was AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. My head is in my head, they're in my head, my head, they're in my head. They're in my head.
We get it.
What?
We get it.
Against AJ Styles. Nope, they don't want none. Nobody wants none. And you want none, nobody want none. I thought this match was awesome. What do you think about the interview before where AJ's all like, hey, I'll give you a big problem, and like goes, kind of a deal. And Randy Orton's like, I'll take it then. Let's do it in the ring. And they go to the ring. I liked that during this match, Alexa Bliss shows up on the old Titantron there, says not yet to the creepy Jack-in-the-Box, puts it down, and then blows out a match, and then the whole fucking ring explodes. I thought Kane was coming out. It was so fucking good. I know
thought
a lot
AEW
of people
finally ended it was so good.
Yeah. I was all like, whoa, turn those down. When Randy Orton came out and he was doing his pose and the sparklers came down behind him, I was like, take cover!
I have been just madly in love with everything Alexa has done touching the Fiend energy in this essence since it started. I am going into my catalog to see when I first said this, to post it on the website, TWTakesPodcast.com, to take credit for how amazing this is and how bad I had to defend it in the very beginning. What Alexa is doing is work above anyone else. When the entire production value behind it is so fucking creepy, it is disturbing at a point. Like, you forget it's Alexa. You're watching this character. And the way it's translating between her and Randy in time, like, it's all in sync and they're barely next to each other. It's just, it's fucking incredible. I have no clue what I hate horror movies. I hate scary movies. I don't do any of that shit. And I'm watching this and I have that lore of eeriness that I'm like, I usually don't watch this shit. And it's coming off that well.
Yeah, I think Randy Orton, I think it just boils down to one thing. He's got to stop sucking the backs off of markers. It's like it's getting stuck up in his throat. It's bad. He's making himself sick. I knew a kid who used to sniff markers a lot.
How dare you downplay the beauty of what this is?
What are you? The dude's eating Sharpies. It's clear as day, dude. You don't see him like.
Have you met Marsh?
What are you talking about?
He is possessed.
The dude chews on the backs of ballpoints. Remember that kid who did that?
You
class
have never
on the back of his pen?
seen him chew on a pen. He's never.
No, we haven't seen him, but we've seen him get sick from it. Just I saw a kid do that. He's like, and fucking 20 minutes later, he's fucking hacking up ink, man. What do you think? He's eating live squids? What's your alternative?
My alternative is that he is possessed by the Fiend energy, and Alexa is controlling the possession. It's fucking phenomenal.
You know what's wild about it, too? Right before he started doing all this stuff, she was sitting on the turnbuckle, and she just let it dribble out of her own mouth. Like, I just do this now. Remember? And then now she's all like, I'm just going to go ahead and just pop this shit up into your throat now. And he's all like, look, it's everywhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It was some pretty cool.
When Alexa did it the first time, too, it just kept dripping out of her mouth. And I'm like, there's no way there isn't too much in there where she feels like coughing that shit through her nose. Because it just kept running and running. But the overall takeaway isn't, oh, it's so obvious there's a black packet that they're chewing on. The overall takeaway is this is creepy as fuck. And that's the art in what this is. That's why I feel so emotionally invested in what it is. Because it's so blatantly fake, it feels so real in the presentation. Like, they're trying to tell us that Randy Orton is a real person and this is happening to him. But when you're looking at this for TV show value, I haven't been this suspensed into something since fucking Endgame. Like, I don't know what's coming next, because every time I think something's going to come, it's something different.
Yeah. And I told you I'm here for the pettiness, and that's always been true. I love that after we had such a shark of a finish on AEW for their death match, the WWE opens up this whole segment with, remember that time we were just going to have a fire match, and instead we fucking murdered someone to death with fire? And you go, oh, yeah. Yeah. Not only do we not promise you a death match, we also created death. So, you're welcome. We're a bargain. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
It was only $4.99 on Peacock, $2.50 a month if you go on now.
Damn straight. Look, you were there during the TLC watch along, not watching with me, but watching me get completely wrecked and hating the finish. I hated that finish so much, it just made zero sense to me. And that's me getting worked in the fashion that I didn't get what I wanted. But every step of the storytelling since makes 100% sense. And even if you look back before that, this is all the Fiend pulling the strings 100% of the time. He is making sure that this is exactly where he has Randy where he wants him to be.
Yep.
It's fucking amazing. It's amazing.
Dude, and then even in that moment, it was like, well, how the fuck are we supposed to get the Fiend next week then? And it was like, you're not, motherfucker.
Yep.
You're not getting the Fiend for a long time now. And we're all like, fuck.
I mean, just the Jack in the Box. Who isn't counting the melody, waiting for that fucking thing to hit? And she just goes, not now, and puts it to the side. I'm like, you motherfucker. I thought we were going to get something crazy. And then she goes, no, lights a match, blows it out, and we get something crazy. Like, it is working on these levels. Yeah, so when I'm watching AEW and I'm getting no money shot whatsoever, I'm comparing it to a Raw like this. I just watched your pay-per-view, and you didn't give me what a Raw did. Come on.
True. It's like a golden shower. Well,
Okay, all right.
Hold on. I get it.
But no, I thought
that's the fireworks at the end of the show.
And look,
a lot
AJ
of people
even won
given
an awesome match, and that's not even the story, and nobody cares that it wasn't the story.
I know, so good too. And AJ just keeps being good and winning matches, and he's like, okay, and he just like walks out with his giant. I love that he calls him his own personal Colossus. It's so fucking funny, dude. AJ is the funniest possible version of a character that takes itself too seriously, because he's so fucking good that he has every reason to take himself as seriously as Bret Hart takes himself. Yeah. But he does it in such a way that just pokes enough fun at himself that it's incredibly believable and absolutely hysterical.
It's the best. He's my number one of all time, and I've only watched him wrestle for 4 years. I mean, he is the greatest to ever do everything. In a complete
you want to talk about undeniable?
He does absolutely everything well.
Yeah. So good. So the fire goes off. There are people who were just trying to... It was so funny. They're just all like, that one post didn't go. See, Pyro fucking fails all the time. And I'm like, all right, well, first off, I don't know if the other post had to go. Secondly, it was still incredibly impressive to see that much fire in the ring. Especially
I don't think
given
they put one on that post anyway.
I didn't see one on the post, but...
Neither did I.
But at the same time, I don't know. But also, it was still with 3 fucking blow-ups, still much better than fucking alternative. Here's the other deal. I really like it. If you watch it, you see Randy Orton tell the ref to get the fuck out of the corner of the ring. Fucking Eddie starts to slink over into the corner. That's why I think there wasn't a blow-up on one of the posts. I think he just didn't know which post.
Gotcha.
He gets close to the post, and Randy, you can see him just pull his arm out and just like wave him in twice real hard, like, get the fuck out of there! And then it's like, boom! So it's kind of funny. Randy Orton saving his life. And it looked great. It was fantastic. It was explosive.
As it wasn't supposed to be, yet over-delivered.
Yep. Not promised, but handed to us on a platter for free. I mean, you can spend your $50 how you want. Anyways. Anyhow. I thought this Raw was pretty decent overall. There's a lot of stuff going on that's just kind of like, what the fuck are we doing? It does feel like we are stuttering on the road to WrestleMania. It feels like we got a flat tire. But we'll get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have definitely more faith in their storytelling. And it's odd because it wasn't their strong suit until maybe once they got a grasp on what the Thunderdome was, they started to kind of like really get the stories together. But you see kind of how things are happening, right? Like Roman has his storyline, and it doesn't seem like anyone else is fucking with that storyline. Everything Randy and Bray and Alexa are doing, it doesn't seem like there's a secondary opinion of someone else fucking with this storyline. So as long as these other ones get there, I'm cool with it too. It definitely didn't feel like a waste of 3 hours. Even the week before where they had the counter, I hated the fucking counter. Like, oh, 9 o'clock's going to happen. This is 10 o'clock. You're going to be disappointed. 10:45, you're going to be disappointed again. And that's how that felt. But this week was just like, okay, we're out of that now. We have a new champion. Where are we going? Well, we're going to look at what Lashley's next opponent's going to be because it's not going to be The Miz. Sheamus and Drew just showed that they are an even match. What's going to happen after that? And I believe that we're going to get a New Day Hurt Business Championship match next week on Raw, right? I think that was part of what came out of Raw.
Yeah, New Day and Hurt Business are going up for the titles, for the tag titles, and also Mustafa Ali's getting a U.S. title shot against Matt Riddle.
So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Should be a good episode of Raw next week.
Should be decent. I'm not angry about it. There's a lot of weirdness going on, but I'm still kind of excited about all the things that are playing out. Like you said, I feel like part of it was too that there was a lot of, well, until we get fans back, until we get fans back, until we get fans back. And I feel like once the Thunderdome really came together, it was like, we may never get fans back. We need to get back on track. And I feel like there was a lot of holding pattern we got in the pandemic era and the early stages of it. Was a lot of, how do we just kind of give people a decent show, get them entertained, but not invest too heavily in anything. That's why we were getting incredible matches with like Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan. We'll have them do like a best of 3 series, and it'll just be a couple long matches that are really good and technical and don't need an audience, and you know what I mean? And we'll put Triple H on commentary with Michael Cole, and he'll just be busting his chops all night. And how do we entertain people while waiting this thing out? Because it'll only be for 2 weeks, right? That's what we were told. After 2 weeks, we'll be fine. Well, it's been a goddamn year. And I haven't been to a fucking wrestling show in quite some time.
And Grim Reaper just came in the chat.
Grim Reaper shows up at the end? What a dick. Thank you for coming through, Grim. We love you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What's all your best impressions?
I did a ton of impressions. I sang songs. This was a good one, man. This felt like lamb chops.
We upgraded to Bishop.
Yep, we got our other bald friend, Bishop.
Say that. He's got
What?
a hat on.
Is he wearing a hat? Oh, shit, he's wearing a hat. All right,
I
our
always
other
wear the
hat
hat.
friend. So does Kev. That's what makes it crazy.
You made him take it off.
Oh, no, put it back on. Gross. Put that shit back on. Bishop, is there anything you thought we missed this week?
Nah, man, we covered a lot. We
I
covered a
think
lot.
we got a lot done.
And we did
I
it
think it was
relatively quick compared to our other episodes.
We have had times where we missed last call. But we did. I think we covered a lot of it. It was a lot of fun. I do really enjoy watching wrestling, and that's what made this week fun. I do think even over the weekend we were quite frustrated. It made it easier to stomach texting you and some others being like, "Are you seeing this shit right now?"
You know, one thing that we did forget to do was actually thank AEW for Sunday, because it showed us how much we should appreciate Raw and what they give us during a 3-hour show.
100%. The other thing is, I used to say it on before I stopped watching AEW altogether, was watching AEW before NXT was probably the best thing you could do for NXT. And at this point, we don't even watch. I don't even cover much of AEW at this point on our Thursday show, but Clump still watches AEW before he watches NXT because he knows he's going to like NXT even more when he does. So, Grim Reaper does say in the chat, the Thunderdome era will have a Chronicle series like The Last Ride, a mini docu-series, and I think so too. I think we'll get a really cool Thunderdome era documentary series. It's going to have a lot of great stuff.
And Drew will look great in it.
Oh, Drew's going to be the champion of it all. This never would have happened without Drew. Vince is going to be like, if it weren't, they're going to say, "Hey, Vince, what did Drew mean to you?" And he's going to be like, let's Let's see. Amanda says, why? I wouldn't think AEW. That's funny. But it was a lot of fun. We appreciate you coming through and having a drink with us on such short notice, Bishop. We did have a sudden emergency amongst Kevin and his friends, so we didn't want to put the pressure on him. So we appreciate you coming through and having a drink with us, giving us some of your terrible takes. Man, we got Fastlane coming up soon, and we are going to be having a drink along with that, I believe, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sunday the 21st. Watch along
21st.
Everywhere. Right? The 21st?
Maybe yeah, I believe that's right. Maybe we'll talk about it later, but I know Lunar has been wanting to do a drink along with us. He's been wanting to get a drink with us, too. Maybe we can throw him in on this one. We'll see how that comes together. Guys, follow... well, hey, Bishop, tell people how they can find you.
Oh, thank you, sir. At TWTakesPodcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, regular email, bishoptwtakes@gmail.com. Go to the website, TWTakesPodcast.com. It has all the podcast links on there, all the social media links. I will be updating it, hopefully, fingers crossed, within a week with my first set of T-shirts. I am extremely excited to be rolling out merch. Made a pretty neat design. I didn't let Marsh proofread it first because he probably would have changed everything. But, yeah, just check me out. TW Takes Podcast on Twitter is the easiest way to get in touch with me and find everything. But TWTakesPodcast.com has everything else on it.
Those are going to be terrible wrestling tees?
They are going to be terrible wrestling tees for sure. The tab for it is TWTs. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Terrible wrestling tees. I'm into it. Maybe we should get some logos on some of the worst gimmicks known to man. We get like a drawing of was Bastion Booger wearing one of your tees or something. Guys, he's Bishop from Terrible Wrestling Takes. I'm at Ref Marsh from Wrestling on the Rocks. You can find us at WTR The Show on Twitter, Wrestling on the Rocks on Instagram. Give us the old follow, the like, the subscribe, the bells, the whistles, all of the things. Review if you do, as Bishop may say.
Rate if you feel.
But we will see you. Rate if you feel. I don't even mind if you give me that 1 star. I'm just looking for stars, man.
We're not even at star level.
You invited one on the show.
Yo! Oh! Bishop, thank you for coming on here and spitting your facts as you seize them. We will be back on Thursday to talk about AEW Revolution, sort of, but probably whatever NXT does to wash the taste out of our mouth. Thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for having a drink. Guys, that's last call. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I and subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.